Since real estate prices peaked on the west side of Los Angeles in the spring of 2022, sales are down by about 25%, interest rates have doubled, and buyers have lost almost 25% of their purchasing power. Yet, home prices are not really coming down. I mean, in Southern California, according to the California Association of Realtors, sales are up 8.7%, prices up 3.1% compared to the same period last year. So why are prices not coming down when pretty much everything says that they should be? Well, here are three reasons. One, property taxes, to which you may be like, what does this even have to do with anything? Well, property taxes in California kind of work like rent control. They're typically based on the purchase price at the time that you bought the property at an estimated rate of about 1.25%, and they can only go up by a maximum of 2% per year. So for example, if you bought your house 14 years ago for $875,000, your property taxes would have been about $10,900 a year, with a maximum allowable increase of 2% per year, which means that today your property taxes would be about $14,000 a year, which seems like a lot, but today, based on real statistics, that same house is worth about $2.1 million. So if you were to buy your house again today, your property taxes, instead of being $14,000, would be about $26,000 a year, or about $1,000 difference a month for the same house, not a better one, the same one. So yeah, essentially people who bought their house several years ago have like a monthly $1,000 incentive to not sell their house. Now, God forbid they bought their house like 20, 30 years ago, because now they really don't want to sell. But anyway, this 2% annual cap on property taxes started in 1978 with Proposition 13. And one reason was that prior to this, a bunch of, old people were losing their houses because while they might have already paid off the house, they couldn't afford to pay the rising property taxes. So yes, pros and cons to Proposition 13. It brings financial stability to homeowners, and it's one of the benefits of owning a house, but on the other hand, it also kind of incentivizes them to not sell, which can result in lower inventory, higher demand, and higher prices for first-time home buyers. Now, one exemption to this is California Proposition 19, which allows people over 55 years of age to sell their house and transfer their existing lower property tax base to a new house. So yeah, in a way, real estate kind of also offers senior discounts. Now, reason number two why prices are not falling. And by the way, my name is Daniel Rango, real estate agent on the west side of Los Angeles. If I can be of any help, it would be an honor. And for a free consultation on buying or selling, don't hesitate to reach out, and you can find my information in the description below. And for more Los Angeles real estate videos like this one, check out my channel and consider subscribing. Reason number two why prices are not falling: interest rates. Specifically, the sudden increase in interest rates is incentivizing sellers to not sell. I mean, for the past 10 years, millions of home buyers were able to get some of the lowest interest rates in history at around 3.5%, and then we suddenly saw them double to around 7%. Now, 7% has actually pretty much been like the average in the past 50 years, but the problem is the sudden increase in rates without a proportionate drop in prices. For example, let's say you bought a house 5 years ago for $1 million with a 30-year 3.5% interest rate. Now, your monthly payment would be about $4,800. Now, if you try to buy your own house again today for the same price, but with a 7% interest rate, your monthly payment would now be about $6,500 a month, or a $1,700 difference. So unless your income has gone up dramatically in the past 5 years, you can't even afford to buy your own house, let alone upgrade to a better house. But let's say you did want to upgrade from like a $1 million house to a $1.5 million house, assuming a 20% down payment. Now, had interest rates stayed the same, you would have had to grow your income in the past 5 years by an additional $5,000 a month. Now, with a 7% interest rate, you would now need to grow your monthly income by an additional $11,000 a month. That's like more than double. So yes, the sudden increase in interest rates makes it harder for homeowners to sell and upgrade their house. As a result, similar to like the property tax situation, homeowners with a low interest rate have an incentive to not sell or can't sell because they can't afford a replacement property, resulting in lower inventory, higher demand, and higher prices for first-time homebuyers. Now, reason number 3 why prices are not falling: lack of new construction, but specifically for home ownership. Now, according to a report by Up for Growth, in 2021, California was the state with the highest units of underproduction, or basically not building enough houses to keep up with demand. And the Los Angeles metro area landed the number 2 spot out of 192 metro areas as the area with the worst housing underproduction in the nation. So yes, Los Angeles and California are some of the worst and toughest places to build housing, partly due to land costs, but also government policy and zoning. But at the same time, there's no more space to build single-family homes. I mean, Los Angeles has pretty much already extended the single-family suburb to like Las Vegas, Nevada. So really, like, the only other option to build new housing, especially on the west side of Los Angeles, is to go up. But the thing is, like, 70% of Los Angeles is zoned for single family homes. But even then, like, the little space that we do have to address the housing shortage is not really being utilized. Actually, correction, it is being utilized, but not for homeownership purposes. I mean, we've seen a bunch of new residential high-rises go up in Los Angeles in the past couple of years in response to the housing shortage. And it's working because rents on the west side of Los Angeles have come down. The problem is that like over 90% of the high-rises that you see going up are rental apartment buildings for renters. No one's really building condos for homeowners. I mean, in this small community in Santa Monica between 1970 and 1980, 1,195 condo units were built. In the past 10 years, that number is 23. The reality is that currently government policy makes it easier to build rentals over condos. At the same time, condos are a higher risk for investors. Approval takes longer, financing is harder, and the liability is higher. For example, California law SB 800 allows HOAs to sue the builder for construction defects up to 10 years after construction. And according to some builders, suing before the 10-year mark has pretty much become a default for many HOAs and a great marketing strategy for attorneys. And for this reason, among many others, some builders are pretty much like, yeah, no, that's cool, I'm just not gonna build any more condos. And when you do see condos, you'll notice they're pretty much like all high-end condos where the higher prices can justify the risk. But anyway, yes, despite the adverse market conditions, prices on the west side of Los Angeles are not really falling because the bad market conditions are being counteracted by an equally powerful perfect storm of low inventory. I mean, consistent price growth in the past 14 years has given many homeowners the benefit of lower property taxes compared to a new buyer, or essentially a property tax incentive to not sell. 2, the rapid increase in interest rates makes it harder for homeowners to sell, find a replacement property, or upgrade their house. And 3, to make things worse, we're not building new housing specifically for home ownership. Now, to all of this, I'm not saying prices won't come down, but I'm also not saying that they won't go up. Timing the market is nearly impossible. So my advice is always buy when you can reasonably afford to buy, when the time makes sense for you and when you can reasonably expect to hold on to the property for minimum 5 years, ideally 10, and super ideally until like you die. And by the way, my name is Daniel Rango, real estate agent on the west side of Los Angeles. If I can be of any help, it would be an honor. And for a free consultation on buying or selling, don't hesitate to reach out, and you can find my information in the description below. And for more Los Angeles real estate videos like this one, check out my channel and consider subscribing. But either way, thanks a bunch for watching and have an awesome day.